Welcome to the Hell is Chrome podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are in the live chat tonight, welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please drop your comments in the chat. We do try to get to them during the show, trying to get better at that. But let us know where you're at and what you're up to. And if you are listening at a later date, come back on a Tuesday evening and say what's up. So there are lots of good things to get to this week. I think last time we talked, we were waiting on some big announcements and big movements, and I think those are happening. So without further ado, let me bring on producer and president John Cross. John, what's up?
Yes. A lot actually. I mean, we've been talking all summer long about how we're trying to get memberships open,
And
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 I can
and
and I can come on tonight and say that memberships are, well, they're open. Right now they're just open to the 7 SGs. There we go. They're just open up to the 7 SGs right now. They're not open to the public just yet, but they are open. We're getting people signed up. I officially started doing testing, I guess, late Thursday night. We got everything in place. And then Friday to do a bunch of the leaders just to make sure everything was working. And then we opened it up to the SGs over the weekend. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in signing up and you haven't yet, check with your SG leaders because they have the information on how to get you signed up.
all right,
Because we want
man.
to make
I
sure
gotta
we
ask.
give,
I gotta ask.
yes.
What's this gonna cost me? What am I getting out of this? You got a scarf? You got a shirt for me yet? What's going on, man? What do I get for my money? How much does it cost? This was a big back and forth last week
Yeah.
between you and I. What'd y'all land on?
Okay. So the total cost, so this is a little wonky because we're, you know, 2/3 of the way through 2024 right now. But in looking also at taxes and how to collect things, there's so many things went into this decision. The bottom line, though, it was $30 for adults and $10 for kids from now through the end of 2025. But to meet other logistic requirements, if people sign up here in 2024, it'll be $15 and then $15 for an adult membership, $5 for a child, and then it will renew in 2025 at that same price. If they join later, then in 2025, if they wait, then it'll be $30 for adults and 10 for kids.
Okay.
But part of
So
that is getting people in, because the people who are signed up in 2024 are going to be the ones who have first shot at the season ticket packages that come out. So if people wait till 2025, there may not be any left at that point. We don't know. We don't know what the final sale of season ticket packages will be. We're negotiating with the club because it won't be the whole section. They won't do all 3,004 seats, and we don't want all 3,004 seats to be season ticket holders because then no one else can ever go see a match outside of the season ticket holders. So it won't be everyone. We'll still reserve some single game tickets, but we are on our way and signing up members, and things are moving. Finally, it feels like we've been unstuck from the mud a little bit and we're actively moving forward, which is nice.
So right now you have to be a member of a supporter group to have access to this sign up. When will this open up to the general public at large?
We don't know for certain. I would expect very soon. Might even be before we have our next podcast. But we don't have a firm date yet. There's a couple of things we
Is there
still need to talk
anything
about
stopping
internally.
people? Is it just the people who have the link are all in the SGs? But like, can anybody with the link actually sign up?
I guess the short answer to that is yes.
Okay, so it's for SGs only, unless you have the link.
Well, the reason, and this is why I want to make sure people who are in SGs know this, we are trying to give people who are currently a member of an SG the opportunity to get in there early before we release the link publicly. Because there are, from what we've heard with the club and people have signed up and other groups, there are well more. Now, we don't know till people actually sign up, but there's well more than 3,000 people who have expressed interest in being a member. So we want to make sure the people who are there, who have
Oh
been
man,
there,
I
and
express
have been
interest in a lot of
active and
things.
helping.
I'm just gonna tell you, I express interest in a lot of
Right.
things, and guess what? I'm not interested. You know.
And there's a lot of people who haven't expressed interest that I'm sure once things get going will, right? So we're trying to get, I think from a technical standpoint, we're ready to open it up to the public, but also we're trying to get a couple benefit things also in place, to make sure we have certain things so we can also announce that. Because right now, there isn't any merch associated with the dues. We try to keep the dues just strictly for covering union operating expenses, and we will sell those merch packages separately. So that's partly why the cost is significantly less than it might be otherwise, because that merch package will be sold as a separate entity. Because we have, right now 7 different SGs, and they are going to want to sell merch packages for their members, and we have lots of different groups. So we got to get everybody together. We got to figure out what people want to offer. We got to be able to get them up in the store. We have a couple other logistics we have to get in place. So we'll be working on that over the next couple of months.
So let me ask this:
merch packages, scarves, etc., separately.
So we've never hit on this show, but where the hell can people find the union? Is it still La Raza? What's the name? Is it on social media? It's on X, the Everything website. It's on Instagram. It's on where are people hearing from directly from Union Communications? Where is that getting put out? Who should I follow to get this link when it gets pushed out?
That will be part of the public push, and that is intentionally not given out just yet because of what we have set up in terms of allowing our members in there early to get the signups.
So you don't even want people that aren't members to follow the union on social media?
We haven't started doing anything public.
There's no social media.
That will all be coordinated. We have handles and stuff, but that will all be coordinated to go out at the same time.
Well, if nobody's following you, nobody's going to see this link, right? Like if you're launching your Twitter account,
right? But if we get it out early and people get the link early, we get.
Well, don't post the link.
Potentially,
you just get people to follow.
It's all tied together, the way we have it set up. So this is why there's a hold on getting all of that out right now. So if you are a member, your leaders have all the access to all the information you need, and they should be sharing it internally through whatever internal communications.
Yeah,
when we're ready to make that public push, we'll go out.
Right now, I think the majority of people that are going to be in that supporter section are not in any of these supporters groups right now. I think that
I would agree. Right.
So how are you talking to those people? Like, how are you communicating to those people? How are they hearing about the union?
There's some individual reaching out going on right now to different leaders, but it is, like I said, it sounds like you don't agree with the position, and that's fine. But we are intentionally
I'm just asking
making
questions.
It public right now.
I'm like Glenn Beck over here. I'm just asking questions.
And that is intentional because we know once that gets out, there is going to be a much bigger demand and people wanting to sign up, to get involved. And we want to give a window of time.
I mean, I just want to follow the union on Instagram.
You will be able to soon.
Okay.
So it might be within the week. I don't know, but it will all come out. But we want to, like I said, give this window of time internally to get as many people signed up
I'm just speaking for
who
the
are
common
already
man over
park.
here. I'm just speaking for the commoner, the person who is not in the room where it happens, the person who is not, using Discord and involved in all of this stuff, because that's me now. Okay, that is me. And it's from my end, it's crickets. You know who I see out there is the Dago boys. I see Dago boys out there. I get it, obviously on social media. Chavos are still very active on social media. I think Riptides are pretty active. But yeah, that's who I see. I don't see a lot of, I don't see anything about a union or, a supporter section, like public facing, right? You
Right.
might as well not even exist right now.
And that's where we want it at the moment. So
Okay.
as soon as we get a couple other things squared away, then there will be a big public push.
Okay.
We
Okay.
don't want that public push right now.
Public. I mean, you're just like, hey, follow us on Instagram. Like, here's our Twitter. Stay tuned. Like, right? You don't have to post the link
We
to the membership. You could just start the Instagram.
Yeah, but we will, and like I said, this one should be coming very soon. But we have a plan for how we want to put that forward, and it's intentional to hold off right now.
Yeah. I know this. The communications arm of this whole endeavor has been not very communicative from very early on. So it makes sense.
Well, I mean, we there were certainly some changes because we had everything in place. We were moving forward with a
And
name,
then the name had to change the name, right?
and then we had things change. So
Have
we
you
are going
announced
to approach it a
what
little
the name is?
differently.
Is the name public yet? The name of the what used to be called La Raza de San Diego, is that out there? I don't think we've talked about it on this show. The new name.
I don't think we have either on that. It's, I mean, again, I'm going to hold off right now just because of everything else. Is there a name? Yes, there's a name. There's a business name, and that was chosen intentionally to make sure we could move forward with everything. And there is I'll say intentionally slow moving process right now to kind of figure out a new identity and branding to go along with that. That won't likely be in place when we first launch. We'll launch with what we used as our business name to get started, which we'll use in some cases, but it's bland and boring. I'll say that. It's descriptive and very matter of fact.
The Supporters Union.
It's descriptive like that, yes. But we are, we will be working on some other things as well and let some things evolve naturally in terms of a bigger kind of brand and identity, because we had to put a pin in that conversation just to get some other things.
Yeah, because a bunch of yahoos wanted to be America's Finest something or other. Man, that was going to be rough. So right now, members of SGs can join this descriptively named union. They don't get anything
yes.
from that. But
what you get
when they sign up, because we talked about this before, that when you sign up through the union membership portal, you would choose to affiliate with one of the SGs. Correct. Or be an at-large member. Is that in place?
Yes. Did you want more elaboration on that? It felt like a yes or no question.
Oh, yeah. I'm not supposed to ask yes or no questions. Yes, and?
Yes, and.
Let me yes, and you.
Yeah, they, they'll affiliate with the supporter group, at least for right now, that they are already a part of.
So there's no
Um,
at-large option as of now?
yes, there is an
Oh, there
at-large
is.
option as well, and we've had a couple people choose. I mean, it's just none really, and in the drop down you pick what you want or none. As far as identifying with a particular SG, and we've had a couple do that. I thought I thought that was interesting, and we will be tallying those to kind of share with the SGs so they know how many people have signed up of their members, and so we can start to get an idea of what the representation is in the group, because we know roughly what the representation is before membership started. But now that memberships are out, it's going to be interesting to see how many of those people actually commit. For
So
some
when
groups, it's
you
probably
said
going to be
you
close to 100%, and other groups, it might not be anywhere close to that.
so you said you opened this over the weekend for the leadership, and now it's out to
And members,
the
yeah.
SGs. I don't know what's it look like under the hood. How are the numbers in the early stages? Have you been looking? Have you been checking? Are you obsessively refreshing the back end of your website to see?
No, I'm not obsessively checking, but I would say for a holiday weekend and um, just kind of getting started and just kind of internally getting the word out because we're not broadcasting it out there. I think we're sitting at about somewhere between 125 and 150 from over the weekend. So
That's pretty
I,
good.
I was hoping for about 200, but again, with it being a holiday weekend, I was still, we've had them kind of come in waves. You can tell
Right.
when
And you don't have
maybe
any
a
merch.
particular
Like
group.
that's probably hurting you.
Well, yeah, I mean,
T-shirt
we're not
one T-shirt would go like that would go such a long way. Just one
sure,
T-shirt, like
and
like let's call it like the limited edition the founders edition T-shirt. Okay, stay with me here. Founders edition,
okay,
and it it looks like whatever. It can be generic, whatever. But if you tell people that it's the founders edition, and only the first 500 members get one, and you're never going to sell this shirt again. All right, I'm giving you that for free. That's a freebie
all
for
right,
me.
that's your freebie.
The founders edition, or you do one of these challenge coins. I'll bet the USG group would be all over this. You give them a challenge coin, a Union Founders Edition challenge coin. These things are pretty cheap to make, and you can charge a lot of money for them, which is why all these people do it. But telling you, man, the challenge coin, the Founders Edition T-shirt, you got a lot of possibilities here. I think, especially in the early stages of onboarding members, like you need something more than just a discount on next year's membership, right? Like you really need to dangle something else out there, right? Like if I was a person who was not like involved in SG stuff, but I'm looking at this team coming in, I'm thinking of getting into the supporter section because I can save some money and it looks like fun. I don't have anything right now, right? But a t-shirt that says I'm one of the first, it's cool. It's cool and it's exciting. And I think you're going to get a lot more people taking the plunge for membership in a non-soccer year to join this thing.
Right, and those are some things that we have already discussed and are on our roadmap moving forward. But they're part of our concern, I guess I said. I mean, and it's a good concern to have. Is like I said, there's more than 3,000 people who have expressed interest, not just in the supporter section, but in season tickets in the supporter section. So that is right now the big draw, because you're not going to be able to get season tickets in the supporter section unless you're a member. In fact, you're not going to be able to get any tickets in that section unless you're a member. They will go through the union first, and only if they don't sell out through the union, even when we get to single game tickets, if for some reason a particular game doesn't have enough, then the club will sell the rest of those out. But otherwise, the only way to be in that section is to be part of the union.
All right. Now, this is just to clarify, this is just union membership. This is not signing up for tickets or getting your name on a season ticket list. That is relatively far off in the future. That is not what we're talking about, right? Like being able to buy tickets right now.
Well, being able to purchase the tickets, yeah, probably October, November, sometime in that range. You know, maybe towards the end of that range. I don't know. Kind of depends how the other, because they'll do all their other season ticket stuff first. Supporters will be the last chunk to go. So it kind of depends what happens with the other sales and how those go and how they choose to extend those or cut them off or whatever they're doing. So once those become available, then yeah, I mean, that is kind of what you're signing up for right now, is if you want those season tickets, this is getting you on the list to be able to purchase the season tickets. I mean, you got to be a member. And if we have, you know, there's a possibility that there could be more members than there are available tickets. So likely for this first year, it's going to be first come, first serve. So those people who are in there now have first shot at getting those season tickets. This is why we want to get the active members in there now before we open things up to the public.
Well, you know, yeah, that's fair. I think that there's different things here, right? The buying of the tickets and the joining of the union are like, these are different transactions.
Yes, they are. And there are going to be people who join the union who won't sit in the section, never want to sit in the section. They're going to get season tickets or just
they might not even go to a game
somewhere
ever.
else. They may never go to a game. They may go to watch parties. I mean, I've already talked to some people that may never set foot in Snapdragon, but may use the membership to leverage to travel.
That's right. You know, because they have facial recognition software at Snapdragon. And if you're on the run, let me just say, do not go to an SDFC match. Okay. If you have ever had your, a drawing of your face on Unsolved Mysteries, probably not the place for you, because yeah, it's real. They are scanning everyone's face. The security in this building is, to me, it's like
both
way
impressive
overkill.
and scary.
It's overkill, right? But like, yeah, you are getting your face scanned. You know, San Diego is a very big brothery surveillance state type of city, right? We had the smart street lights, we have the police with their drones, and we have all of this surveillance. And so like, it just kind of follows that our newest, shiniest football stadium would have the latest and greatest of you know, that panopticon that we all live in. So yeah, if you're on the lam, if you're whatever, who's the guy that jumped with that DB Cooper, the guy that jumped out of the airplane with all the money? Probably not going to be at the game, but you are welcome to join the union. So put some of those ill-gotten dollars to good use.
And travel to all the away matches.
So there is news about this team. Eventually there will be a team. There will be 11 players on the pitch playing this game. There will be a manager, coach. Where are we on that? I think there's been some news.
Yeah, new player signing, Alex Mighton from Forest in the Premier League, although I don't think he, if I recall, when reading through the thing, I don't think he saw any first team action. He's a young player. They got him, and I remember reading through the article and seeing some, you know, the crazy MLS rules of he was someone's discovery player and they got through some kind of allocation of money, and you know,
that's a bonus. That's another bonus episode topic. So if you want more on, you know, nonprofit tax law, you want more on the back end software compliance with, you know, state privacy laws, you want to know about the MLS designated player and salary cap rules, all of that is going to be covered on our bonus episodes. Very, very worthwhile, very entertaining listens. But we're just gonna avoid those for the main episodes. Sorry.
So with Alex, that brings us to 6 players, as I said. So we're almost to 7. Almost can actually field a team without forfeiting. So we're not quite there yet. I don't know what the schedule is, for announcing new players. I know MLS has their crazy draft. They have their normal draft, and there's the expansion draft, and there's all kinds of things that will happen closer to the season, which I'm sure the team will pick up some key players, but it'll be interesting to see what other players they pick up to kind of round out their roster early. And
It's so crazy. And the great thing about this sport is that you can just get like the craziest player rumors going with very little foundation. Like, for example, we could just get this going. CJ Fodry, he's coming. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to say it. I don't have any knowledge of this. I don't have any insight. I haven't talked to anybody at the club or anybody, any of CJ's people, but I could just put that out there. And I bet we could get it going. A lot of fun to be had in the player signing rumor mill on social media. That's like my guy. I want them to sign. I mean, I don't know how it works in MLS, if it's even possible, but it'd be great to get him back into town.
Yeah, it would, to have a local product like that along with Duran.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice. The team.
We're just going to manifest. Also, we're going to manifest that into happening on this very show.
I don't know how likely it is. I think structurally it's likely. I don't know if I don't know what they get to pick from in the expansion draft. I'm not even going to try to go there.
I mean, Austin
don't understand the rules.
Drafted him like 9th, right? Like a first round pick. I mean, I don't know how if that's valuable in MLS or not.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try to pretend like I know any of that stuff. I'm just going to wait and see what players we get and go from there. And then if you believe the rumors out there that SDFC should be signing a new coach next week.
Well, they do need a coach. That is for sure.
They need a coach. It sounds like Mike Ivaris is the likely candidate if you believe the rumors out there. And that's, should be, again, some kind of announcement next week, but it seems like it's him. And I don't know what I think about it. I mean, again,
who is this guy? I don't know nothing about him.
He's coached in the U.S. system. I believe he was the Olympic team coach.
That makes me nervous
for the men's side.
Somebody coming up to the American system makes me nervous. Don't have a lot of success in the men's system. I will say, and this is a good little segue here. I don't know if you saw Landon Donovan's comments about the youth soccer landscape in America. Pretty interesting stuff. Although, I mean, he is not breaking new ground here. He is not the first person to make this observation. But he went on Alexi Lawless's podcast, which is why, none of us heard it because, I mean, come on, Alexi.
Well, right. I wouldn't have listened to it live like that. I only caught blurbs from it going around.
So Wave interim head coach Landon Donovan, U.S. men's soccer legend, former coach of San Diego Loyal, former VP of whatever he did after he was done coaching.
Right.
He basically tells Alexi, after some of the, underwhelming performances of our men's side on the national team, that, we are just not developing kids correctly or to their full potential. We are squandering their key developmental years when they could be getting so much better. They are only getting a little bit better. Um, he said, the pay to play system is just eliminates all kinds of potential and holds us back. He criticized competitiveness among U6 and U7 players, which in the youth
Right. Yeah, I
system that
saw
is
that.
U is under, so under 6, 5 year olds, and under 7, which are 6 year olds. Um, you know, coaches talking about their big rivals and they need to win these games, and he was really put off by the emphasis on winning at that level. And he's been consistent with this. Last year, after one of the loyal matches, Landon joined us at O'Brien's after a match, and being a soccer parent myself, um, this is what I wanted to talk to him about, and I asked him about it. We just happened to kind of be sitting next to each other. I was like, "Hey, well, he mentioned his kid is playing. I think his kid plays at San Diego Surf, and I was like, well, what do you think? Are you going to be joining the big travel team? Are y'all going to go to these big showcases in other states and all of the stuff that happens in youth soccer?" And he's like, no way. He said, there's no way. All that stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He does not see the value in it in the youth system, which I think is a fair moral stance to take, but practically, there's, from where I sit, there's really not an alternative. And this is kind of what it's like the catch 22 of our whole soccer system in this country, is that we can recognize that the lack of pro rel, that pay to play, hurts us on the international stage. It hurts our competitiveness internationally, but I don't see a whole lot of solutions being proposed, right? It is all critique with no solution, because I don't know how much it costs Surf to operate those Del Mar Polo fields. I don't know how much it costs them to operate up at Oceanside, that big facility up there next to the new Front Wave Arena. But it's not free. They do have to pay to use these fields. So I don't know how much I don't know how much money there really is. I guess there's a lot of profit or they wouldn't do it, but there's also a lot of expenses involved. And unless we're ready to just have the government subsidize youth sports, I don't see any other way to have youth soccer leagues and all of this stuff. Um, is that what other countries do? Does the government just fund football?
No, you get them through your professional teams and your open pyramid system. I mean, really, because there is an incentive for each team when you have promotion and relegation and you have that open pyramid, there's an incentive to do your academy and, locally find your kids locally and either move them on to help sell that contract on, or they go get picked up somewhere else, or you bring them up through your academies to help your team move forward. But it gives you that incentive to um, attract people in. Like, you have so many teams when you have an open pyramid system like that, and everybody has the potential. And without getting into a deep pro rel discussion here, but I mean that's the bottom line, is when you have that open kind of system where results are done by meritocracy out on the field, then there's an incentive of each team to do that with their academy, whatever their means are. They may be happy at whatever level they're playing, or they may want to strive to do more. But you pick up all these kids instead of, this weird setup we have in the US of, you got MLS has their own rules and this discovery rights and protected people because they happen to live in a particular area. But, USL has their own rules and each of the other leagues have their rules. And, it's not, everybody's not playing together as part of the same system. So, and then you get the people say, well, you're never going to make it if you're not part of an MLS academy, or you're never going to make it unless you're not part of this top youth academy and pay
So
thousands and thousands and
that's
thousands
a
of
good
dollars.
point. I don't know if you saw this tweet. I can't think of his name right now. Kessler, right? He's one of these pro rel guys on Twitter. He posted
Chris
the
Kessel?
roster. Yes, he posted
Yeah.
the roster, and I think it was the boys national team, maybe the U16s or U17s, one of those, kids. And when you look at who they have rostered for the U.S. men's side, it is all kids at MLS academies,
MLS
MLS,
academies. Yeah.
MLS Next. So in the youth soccer system, you have two kind of major top leagues. You have MLS Next, which is the one that these kids are coming from, and you have the ECNL, which used to be just girls, but now it's also got boys. I think ECNL is a little more college focused, where MLS Next is a little more pro focused. But those are like your two top leagues where, if you're a player who is super competitive and one of the better players on your team, like you're trying to get into one of these teams, you're wanting to play at this level because that's just the top level for youth soccer in the US. But for that national team to limit itself exclusively to not just MLS Next teams, but specifically MLS academies, because the league, MLS Next, is much more than just MLS academies. Locally, Chula Vista FC has an MLS Next team, Albion has an MLS Next team, and City SC up in Carlsbad have an MLS Next team. I think there's a team in Temecula that also has an MLS Next side. Now, none of these are affiliated with any pro teams, but they are playing in that same league as these players. But even those players are not getting pulled up to the national team. So,
Right.
It seems very limiting, this relationship between U.S. soccer and MLS. Now, for sure, these MLS academies are getting great players, right? Like they are, pulling kids from different regions and they're able to do that. But there are just so many more players that they just don't have the capacity for, right? There's only so many teams. Um, and to me, that is a big part of the problem, is just limiting your talent pool to the players that happen to have been identified by an MLS team and brought into an
Right.
academy. Some kids that get identified by these MLS teams don't even go to the academies because maybe their family doesn't want to move to another state. Maybe, there's all kinds of reasons not to go. Maybe the kid wants to play high school soccer with their friends. Well, if you play MLS Next, you're not allowed to play high school soccer. Now in ECNL you can, but you really do have a very, very, you have a whole forest in front of you, but you're looking at it through a pinhole, and that's where you're getting all of your players from. I think that's, pay to play is a problem, yes, but there is also that I think leads to other problems too.
Right. Yeah. And you certainly, with a structure like MLS that has tried to control from the top down, youth rec leagues now they're getting into all the way up to MLS and really trying to control the pipeline. And unfortunately, because of, I'll say, the cronyism between MLS and US soccer, especially on the coaching side, I think you get, as you said, very tunnel vision in the players that look. I mean, how many, for decades of my life, people have complained about how many good players we are missing from all around the country because they didn't play for a big club, or they chose not to do whatever it was, or because they exhibited a little bit of flair and individuality, and the coaches didn't like that kind of thing. They wanted bigger, physical, stronger, more robotic kind of players. And We
Oh
just
man,
missed out on
they
some
they
very
man
talented people.
they love their big players. If you are an early, because listen, my kid plays U17, so this is the age where there's one kid on the field who's maybe they're 16, but they're barely on that early curve of puberty, and there's a kid lined up across from them on the other team with like a full beard, and like it
Right.
looks like
Yeah.
he's paying a mortgage. Like it's very strange, and some yeah, they really do value that big, strong player type. That's definitely still there.
Well, and if you're just concerned about winning, it makes a difference when you're in your teenage years. That physical ability somebody may have can really influence and make a difference in a game, but that player usually doesn't last. Like high school is about it for them and they don't last, and the other players who have more skill and can read the game better, because you can always develop a stronger physical presence. But if you only rely on your physical presence and you don't develop the rest of your game, your potential is incredibly limited. And I know when I coached at club and I coached in high school, saw so many players like that. Like they could hold their own in high school, but they weren't going any further. And then you could see someone else who had a lot of potential, like this kid will play in college and this kid has some potential to go a lot further, even though they might have been a freshman or a sophomore playing on varsity, and they're not really doing well against that senior defender that is 3 times the size of them, just physically
Yeah.
more mature, and just can bully them, at that stage of the game.
Oh,
But
college soccer is
but
also a disaster right now. I don't know if
yeah,
you've seen this. NCAA has these new roster limits of 28. You can only have 28 players on your roster. So, um, on Twitter, there's a big like college soccer recruiting. Like soccer recruits are very active on Twitter, especially on the girls' side. And like over the last month, I've just been seeing player after player on the girls' side being decommitted from Division One programs because of these changes and with the roster sizes, and it's really hurting. I think players' options post high school. And if you're not going pro, then it's just getting, I think, more difficult to get on at college because of the pressure to win. That's why on the men's side you have these rosters that are, I think, right now the latest numbers for like NCAA Division One. I want to say it's over 30% are foreign one players, and
yeah,
I think that's going up every year. Um, but yeah, it's this is not the elite soccer player developing country, and I think that's why you see even our very best players are only slightly above average stars in Europe. Christian Pulisic, who's a great player, obviously, but he is not like on the same level as some of the more world class players that we see.
right. Yeah, but we have more than we ever used to that are playing, and if we could, I certainly if we could do our youth sport, our youth portion and development better in a country our size, just by sheer statistics and numbers, we ought to be producing some world class players.
Well, what we need is some socialism. Let's get the government to fund club soccer. Let's get some more decent playing surfaces so that these kids aren't playing in gopher hole public parks. And let's go. Let's do that. I know we took a big detour on this show. I want to circle a little bit back to SDFC and the supporter union stuff. I know there were some other things you maybe wanted to get to before we get out of here. I'm on a hard out this evening, so
Right, yes.
what else do we need to get to?
Just a couple of event things that are coming up. There should be another Chrome Bowl Tour event coming up on Sunday, the 15th of September. Also on that date is likely to be an all SG event. So a bunch of the SGs are looking to put something together. It technically will not be a union of sanctioned event, but it will be like all the SGs organized. We were trying to do a union sanctioned event, and it didn't work out for permitting and other things for the thing we wanted to do. So it looks like a lot of the SGs are just going to take it upon themselves to just still reserve the day and find a spot and go and get together. So keep on the lookout with your individual SG for any news about that. And then that following week, again, if the rumors are correct, SDFC should be announcing a coach, and then there might be a union event also right around that time. So that week is, and again, we say this sometimes, like we don't know, like there's things in play, and if everything falls into place, we can pull the trigger and announce it, and sometimes it doesn't all fall into place. Kind of like the 15th event. So like I said, SGs will probably just take it upon themselves to say, all right, we'll find a place and get together anyway, and just have a party.
So where is this Chrome Ball tour anyway? Where are we at?
The next one's in San Marcos. That's the one on Sunday the 15th, and it will be at, let's see if I can find it in my notes, Walnut Grove Park in San Marcos on Sunday the 15th. So we'll have more information next week on our show for that. And hopefully an update about any of the other events that are coming up in terms of the union. And there's some things I know the club is planning. The union has its official recognition presentation coming up in less than a month with the club. So hopefully we'll have some news with that. And then shortly after that, like October and into November, there should be some couple big events as well. So those are all in the planning stages, and I'm sure the club is going to be really ramping some things up as it gets to the end of this MLS season and we get into off season.
Great. So so where can people catch up with the union on social media? Where can they follow the union for the latest with all this stuff coming
individual up? SG for the latest until we get those out. But one of the big things we're trying to do is get the Discord set up for the union member. We had the one for the leadership, but we decided to do a separate one for membership at large.
So I'd love just another freaking Discord channel to keep up with. Love it. Oh, I can't wait. Great idea.
You're not going to be there. What do you care?
It does get overwhelming.
Get that set up.
The Discord. I'm in a lot of. Maybe I'm just in too many Discord channels. It's a lot. It's a lot. I miss a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So stay tuned next week. Hopefully we'll have more information, more maybe a public link, maybe a social media handle that you can or maybe can't follow yet. I will continue to stay on John about this, and we will pester him every show from now until that's out there. I'm telling you, man, Founders Edition challenge coins, it's a game changer.
Is it...
I think we have lost John. Unfortunately, that is, he was actually just about to confirm that yes, while we've been on the air with this pod and the stream, the union has decided to go ahead with some Founders Challenge coins. They thought my idea was great. My phone is blowing up. Everybody loves it and thinks it's a great idea. This does create some interesting technical issues with this particular live stream because John hosts the live stream. And this is some inside baseball, normally reserved for our bonus episodes, but I have no way to end the stream personally myself. So, you're stuck with me until John can restart his rig and get in here and get us off the air. So let's see. Is there anything in the chat? Paul, hello. And Jeff, people are excited about Milan Ilosky, the former terror at Orange County, who really plagued us. It seems like he always played really well against Loyal. And yes, he is. I think he is coming to SDFC. So that should be a great addition to the team. And that is another local player for us. Jeff, it is not great, as I think John learned a couple of weeks ago when I was sick, being by yourself and carrying the show. There are people who do podcasts and streams like solo, and I think it takes a certain mindset to even think that you are interesting or entertaining enough to carry something totally by yourself. It's so much easier with somebody to bounce things off of, which is kind of the role I play with John, because he's the one with all the information. But yeah, some people do it. Some people, I guess, do it well, but I think it takes you got to really have a lot of confidence in yourself to just, hey, this is my show and I'm just doing it. I'm all you get. Jeff says he enjoys listening. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's tough. So y'all know I have not been involved in the union over the last month or so, not even in the Discord. So it's kind of funny that I'm co-hosting a supporter podcast when I am not personally calling myself a supporter, which is fine when I've got John to fill in the gaps. But I don't have a lot to offer other than a bunch of complaints about the U.S. soccer system. I could just close my browser tab, and that might get me out of that. Might close the stream, but then I don't know if it would save properly. There, you know what? You have now joined Technical Problems Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Dyer, and on this show, I will walk you through how to manage your live stream when you have technical issues. So bear with me here. I am going to be on my phone, which is always great content. I'm texting John. I'll let y'all know what he says. It's just kind of funny that he's fallen off because, if his computer crashed, then wouldn't StreamYard have also crashed? I don't know. It's still going. It still says I'm live. Welcome back to the Tech Minute, the Tech Hour, Technical Support Hour on the Hello Chrome podcast. What do we do? We've secretly left a person live on a live stream with no way to end the live stream. Let's see how they react. Okay. I'm that person. Not well. I'm just going to invite the chat to do the Homer Simpson fading into the bushes. If you all leave, then maybe I can leave. All right. Well, I definitely do have to leave because I have to go pick up my kid. I'm just going to close the browser tab and hope that the podcast audio renders and is fed into the maw of the RSS feed. So thanks everybody for joining us. Hope this wasn't too awkward for y'all. We'll be back next week. So until then, bye.